Hi. So today's a little weird because it's just my wife and I for dinner tonight, and that's kind of odd. You don't understand how rare it is not to have a child hanging out in the house, at least one of them, to eat dinner with us. So we're going to have something a little different today, something very, very simple that I can make for my wife and I that isn't too complicated. It's just a couple of ingredients. We're going to make some chicken, some potatoes, and maybe a faux sauce, faux gravy. But it is very basic and very, very, very tasty. You can take this preparation and go a bunch of places with it, just depending on the seasoning and flavors you decide to add, at least for the chicken. The potatoes, we're going to do some parsley potatoes because that's one of the simplest non-mashed varieties you can make. All right, so we have a little bit of prep work to get into, and then we will get started. Okay, we start out with our chicken breast. Now this one is partially frozen because I want very much to make sure that I can cut this, and also because I'm prepping way far in advance. So all we want to do is cut our chicken into two fillets. This is a boneless, skinless chicken breast. We are going to cut it into two almost equal-sized fillets for later cooking. And that's it. That is all that you need to do. Like I said, partially frozen, and that actually makes it a lot easier to cut because, as you can see, the fully thawed pieces are really floppy. And now for my next trick, we need 3 potatoes and this lovely bowl of ice cold water. If I'm being honest, they should probably be, oh, they are peeled. Fantastic. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to cut these up. We're not going to cut them up too fine. We still want to leave nice chunks of potato for what we have in mind. So something around that size should be sufficient. And then those can just go into the water to await their fate. It's not complicated, but doing this first, getting this out of the way, will make cooking much, much easier when it starts. Prep work, as annoying as it can be, is often important to make sure that you get dinner on the table in a, I don't know, what's the word that I want here? In a decent amount of time. You know, when people actually are hungry and want to eat. But that's done just like that. That's all that we need to do with the potatoes. So we will move on to our next. To start with cooking, we're going to put on our front burner to medium high. We're actually going to turn on our other burner to high to start getting the water heating up. I'm going to add a bit of salt to the water for when our potatoes go in. Into the pan, we're going to add a generous amount of olive oil because we don't want anybody sticking. Give that a moment to come up to temperature before we start actually cooking our chicken, which we cut earlier. It is now fully thawed as it got to sit and wait. Once we've given the olive oil a chance to heat a little bit, we're going to take our previously taken apart chicken and we're going to add it to our pan. Now, I have put a good bit of fresh cracked black pepper and salt on both sides of the chicken, and that's about all of the seasoning that I am going to do for these right now. want to let these go, again, on medium-high for 3 minutes per side. Will they be fully cooked? No, that's not the point. I've also got my oven preheating to 350 degrees. We're going to finish these in the oven after we've browned them in the pan, and then we're going to build a little bit of a sauce to throw them back in, and then all of that will go in the oven. Okay, 3-minute mark is here. Let's see where things are at. It's time to flip our chicken. As you can see, my pan is in love with this chicken. It doesn't want to give it up. But there we go. A little bit of browning, which is what we're going for. Oh yeah. See, that one looks really nice. I'm going to rotate the pan. If you haven't stovetop like I do, you run into problems where you have different heat spots. So moving the pan around will help to more evenly cook things. We're going to give this another 3 minutes of cooking before we evacuate the chicken to a plate and start working on our sauce. Okay, now that we've gotten another 3-minute period underway and we've got some really, really nice browning on the chicken, we want to evacuate it from the pan for the moment. You see all that browning in the bottom of the pan? We want to make sure that we save that. So what we're going to do next is I have a 1.5 cups of chicken broth, or not chicken broth, 1.5 cups of lemon juice. Ugh. And I've got, in that, I've added a tablespoon of garlic, which is about 1.5 cloves of garlic. And we're going to turn this heat all the way up to high. And we're going to just scrape the bottom of the pan to get all of that glorious brownness from the chicken up off the bottom. Okay, look at that. All right, very nice. Excellent. The goal here with this lovely lemony liquid is to get it up to a simmer before we go in with another addition that I've got to help thicken up our sauce. So we're going to give this a little bit of time to get up to temperature, and once we get there, we're going to be adding in 2 cups of chicken broth that I have mixed with and dissolved a pair of tablespoons of flour into to build up our sauce. I don't want to say gravy because I'm not building any kind of roux out of this. I just want to make something that's a little thicker that'll hug the chicken rather than run off. So, okay, we've already got the bubbling and bubbling and bubbling going. That's good. That's very, very good. I want to give this an opportunity to cook off that garlic just a little bit. Again, this is going to go into the oven once the sauce is built, but I'd like to give the garlic just a bit of a chance to cook a little bit before it starts getting bound up in a sauce or sticking to the chicken. Okay, a couple minutes of simmering has gone by. We have nice bubbles going, nice energetic action in our pan, and we are going to add our 2 cups of chicken broth and 2 tablespoons of flour. Now this we have to get up to a boil. Normally when you want your sauce to thicken, it depends entirely on the medium that you're using to thicken it. Cornstarch you can get away with not coming to a boil, but in this case we're using flour, and flour requires a full-on boil before it's going to start really thickening. So we've got this on high heat. I'm going to stir occasionally. We want to build a nice sauce, get it to boil, and then we can add our chicken back to it. For the liquid that you use, now I chose chicken broth. You can use whatever liquid really that you like. Water is fine, but it brings no flavor with it, so that's why I went with the chicken broth. And that will help build a better flavor profile. On our other burner, we've got our water turned back up so we can get it to boil, and when that happens, we're going to introduce the potatoes. We're going to be making parsley potatoes, so we got to boil some of those chunks we cut up earlier. Once the pan reaches a boil here with the chicken broth and lemon juice and garlic and that lovely brown bits from our chicken breasts, we will be back to see what steps we take next. We've given it some time to boil. And the litmus test of litmus tests, from what I remember from my days watching Food Network, was the back of a spoon. So, take the spoon, and does it come out? No, it doesn't run. That means we're thicker, and we're where we need to be. So we are going to reintroduce our chicken to this mixture, and then we are going to evacuate our chicken into, well, we're going to move our pan into the oven. I don't know why I was going with evacuate. That doesn't make sense. But I don't always make sense. If you've watched these videos before, you know that. Okay. You stay put. Turn this burner off, and we're going to move our other pot with our almost boiling water. No, that is boiling water. Fantastic. To which we are going to add our potatoes. Hooray! Potatoes. These we are going to boil until they're fork tender. What is fork tender? Fork tender is when you can push a fork or a butter knife into it without much resistance. You do not want to go too far over that, because then you get into a territory where your potatoes are mushy and they'll fall apart. We don't want that. So I'll be back with you once the potatoes are fork tender. Okay, so our potatoes have been boiling for a minute. Well, more than a minute, using that as an expression. Check these for doneness. When we want fork tender, we want easily going into the fork. Well, easily going into the potato. These appear to be fork tender, so what we're going to do is we're going to turn off the heat. I'm going to take these and drain them. And while they're getting really good and drained over the stove, I'm going to take a tablespoon of butter, and using the residual heat in the pan, now I'm going to melt it. To that butter, I'm going to add some parsley. How much parsley? I don't really know. About that much. Should I be using fresh parsley? Probably. Problem is, I don't have fresh parsley. So, we're going with the dried stuff, because that's what I got. Okay. Residual heat is not melting this butter fast enough, which, based on my luck, I'm not surprised. So, turn this burner back on, put it on low. The amount of butter and the amount of parsley that you use is going to be based on the number of potatoes you use and how much you like to drown your sorrows in butter. As for me, if you'll remember from earlier in this video, we started with 3 medium-size-ish potatoes. So it's not like we have a huge amount. Take them and we add them back to our melted butter. And we toss to coat. Everybody, some parsley and some butter. I'll be honest, folks, I don't know. Does that look like enough butter to you? There's like nothing left in the bottom of the pan. I personally don't think that's enough butter, so I'm going to add more. That is a judgment that I think any of you can make on your own, in your own time, in your own special way. To make sure that the potatoes that you're making taste the way you want them to taste. And again, as a home cook, everything does not always go the way that you had planned it. So you have to be flexible in the moment. All right, I think we're good now. So why don't you guys take a break while I put everything together on the plate, and we'll be right back to taste test this nonsense. I never been one for sauce all that much, so my chicken has just a little bit on it. But let's give this a taste. It has a very good flavor, very strong, obviously chicken, because that's what it is, chicken, but chicken broth adds a bit of depth. There's just a little bit of zing from the lemon. Let's see what we got for our potatoes. Nicely done. Probably could have used a little more butter, but to each their own taste-wise. These are pretty good potatoes. I was going to say not bad, but since I'm the one cooking them, I should at least give myself a little bit more credit. They're pretty good. Nice and tender, without being fall aparty. If you like this video, if you like any of my videos, please feel free to hit like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions, anything you'd like to see me do, please go ahead and drop a comment in the chat. See you guys back here next week.